Hey everybody, welcome to our investor presentation. I'm Chris McCammon, head of marketing. I'm here with co-founders and co-CEOs Chris Anthony and Steve Fambro.
Howdy.
Hello.
All right, I'll give you that.
We're swapping the mics here.
Swapping the mics. So we're here in New York.
Big city.
Exciting days.
Yeah.
Looking forward to tomorrow.
All right. So first I'm going to read a forward-looking statement. So this presentation contains certain forward-looking statements within the meaning of the Securities Act and Exchange Act. These statements include those relating to the company's product development, market opportunity, competitive position, possible or assumed future results of operations, business strategies, potential growth opportunities, and other statements that are predictive in nature. These forward-looking statements are based on current expectations, estimates, forecasts, and projections about the industry and markets in which we operate and management's current beliefs and assumptions. These statements relate to future events or our financial performance and involve known and unknown risks, uncertainties, and other factors which may cause actual results, performance, or achievements to be materially different from any future results, performance, or achievements expressed or implied by the forward-looking statements. Such factors include those set forth in the company's filings with the SEC, including the registration statement on Form S-1, declared effective by the SEC on September 30th, 2025. Prospective investors are cautioned not to place undue reliance on such forward-looking statements, which speak only as of the date of this presentation. The company undertakes no obligation to publicly update any forward-looking statement, whether as a result of new information, future events, or otherwise. Phew, we did it.
It's a mouthful.
All right, awesome. All right, guys, well, we're here in New York. Which one of you wants to tell me about Aptera's mission?
Well, our mission is pretty simple, and that's to make every journey powered by the sun. We do that through our solar intellectual property and also by embracing extreme efficiency, lightweight and low drag aerodynamics. Those two things enable our journeys to be powered by the sun.
Awesome. So what's the problem we're trying to solve?
You know, really, modern transportation today is dirty and inefficient. It saddens me to be on the freeways in California and see so many boxy, inefficient, sometimes loud vehicles driving around me, knowing that most of the energy they're burning in their combustion engines is not going to propel their vehicles forward, but is just wasted in heat and blow by and emissions and things that just aren't productive. So much science and advancement and technology around us. You would think that modern transportation would look a lot different now, but it really doesn't. And we think there's a solution.
Yeah, so what is our solution to modern transportation?
Aptera is a solution.
Makes sense.
Solar-powered EVs. When you produce the fuel on the vehicle, then you're not worried about where it comes from. It comes from the sun. That's it. There's no further discussion. You don't have to worry about anything else.
Right. So what does Aptera provide that nobody else does?
You know, it's really enabled by efficiency. And our ethos from the beginning, from the first time I met Steve, was, how do we make the most efficient vehicle possible? And he had an amazing amount of books on the subject and had done a lot of research to determine that really aerodynamics drives everything. And we started talking through it, and I was just struck by Steve's brilliance and how this idea could really change the world and change how people think about transportation. But it's not just aerodynamic efficiency, it's also the weight of the vehicle, the efficiency of the powertrain. It's the whole package that enables solar mobility. And I remember sitting down at Steve's kitchen table and looking through some of the first design books that he had on what an aerodynamic shape would really look like. And we kind of narrowed in on the cambered body and decided, well, this could seat two people side by side comfortably, and this seems like something that we could, package into something that could be really mass market. So how do we do that? We started drawing, we started playing with clay models, We started getting CAD models put together. The first big check that we wrote as a company, $17,000, went to NASA Langley to do the first aerodynamic analysis. And it was just amazing to see NASA come back to us and say, we don't understand the results from our computational fluid dynamics. They seem anomalous. Can we get on a phone call with you guys and talk about it? And Steve and I sat on a conference call with 6 NASA engineers and explained to them what ground effect was and how the shape.
Well, I was beside myself. I mean, we hired them to tell us why it was so low drag. Like, they're supposed to be the experts, not us.
But we knew we were onto something at that point, and it was really off to the races to design something super efficient that could go really far on every drop of energy that you put into it.
Awesome. So what are some of the benefits when you produce your own energy on the vehicle?
Chris, you.
Solar energy really gives you the freedom to travel wherever you want to go. This is an interesting picture. It's cool to think of the Aptera being a vehicle that you could take out 200 miles to your favorite camping spot, camp for a week, and actually create more energy and put it back into the Aptera than you left with. So a vehicle that creates its own fuel is just something that's never existed. It untethers you from the grid, from the responsibilities of charging every night, from the responsibilities of having to stop at a supercharger for a lot of trips, and really gives you the freedom to think about your transportation in a very different way.
Right. And speaking of all the solar power, I think it's much more important than people realize.
Well, solar power isn't just an add-on, for our vehicle. It's the key part. It's the largest part of our intellectual property portfolio. And by creating this new segment of vehicle that's not quite a car, but it's solar powered, and it's really the first one to be that. There's really nothing else like it in the marketplace. So people ask, well, who are you competing against? We're competing against no one. There's no one else in this category. And solar is a true differentiator.
Right. Well, how could Aptera change the world with this solar energy?
The impact that this vehicle could have is enormous, not just in the miles of free driving that is provided, the amount of savings that people will see not spending money for those miles, but also in the amount of emissions put into our air, the clean air, that our children breathe, that our grandchildren will breathe, and the amount of stuff that we take out of the ground. Building the vehicle in such a lightweight, efficient fashion means that we pull less out of the ground in terms of aluminum and copper and magnesium and the things we build the body structure with. But moving vehicles with petroleum means a lot of that has to come out of the ground. It has to be refined. To think that this vehicle could have a global impact that it could with 1 million Aptera on the road is quite exciting, and we think that we can really change the world by putting as many of these on the road as possible.
100%. All right. Now let's talk about the company Aptera, not just the vehicle Aptera. So why does Aptera exist, and what have we built together?
Well, Aptera exists to do more, right? We do more with less, and that's not really a cliche. It's about going further with a smaller battery pack, having a structure that weighs less. All of those things enable really great efficiency and lots of range.
We've built a mission-driven community, an amazing amount of people that are following us on social, 1 million plus. Having close to 50,000 reservations now is quite exciting. And as we look to list the company on the NASDAQ tomorrow, having over 20,000 existing investors is just amazing. We're scalable and capital light. Getting this vehicle to production it is just a much easier task than what you've seen in other bigger automotive programs. And we're really building a new category of transportation. A vehicle that produces its own fuel just hasn't existed. Something that can take care of most of your daily driving with just the power of the sun, really enabled through lightweight aerodynamics. And it's something that it would be really difficult for somebody else to step into.
Right. Yeah. How has the vehicle been received in the EV landscape? Or how many orders we got? What are we dealing with here?
Yeah, close to $2 billion in reservations now. Is exciting to think about delivering on. And we opened up our accelerator slots. Thank you to all those accelerators who are listening out there. It was amazing to have, an average investment of over $20,000 for each of those slots. So getting this vehicle into people's hands is really the mission now. We know that people want them. We have a passionate community that's excited to get them and drive them and show their friends and spread the Aptera love. And now it's all about just getting the vehicle built.
Totally. All right, well, let's talk about our manufacturing model. I think that's pretty innovative too.
Yeah, most people don't realize the typical automotive body structure, they call a body in white, has about 200 steel parts, and they all have to be stamped and fixtured and welded together. And that's a lot of tooling, that's a lot of inventory, a lot of part management. Aptera has about 6 structural parts. So we have a much lighter capital structure because we have less tooling. We have less tooling because we have fewer parts. And so that's just one example of how this vehicle is built differently. It's also made from forged carbon fiber, not the kind of stuff you think about with airplanes or race cars. It's very laborious and high labor content. This is stamped out every few minutes, just like a high volume part, a high volume steel part, except it's lightweight and it's carbon or fiberglass. So we've got a very capital light model that lets us copy and paste this kind of production facility anywhere in the world in a leased building without having to do a lot of special input to the building at all. So it's a new way to make a vehicle. It's a simpler way to make a vehicle. And it's something that once we demonstrate here in Carlsbad at scale, we can copy and paste anywhere in the world where it makes sense to do so.
Right, yeah. So we have some great partners too to make this happen, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, you see Aptera from the beginning has really become a global company. We started the company in the height of COVID, and that forced us to work with partners worldwide. Co-Stamp Group and CPC Mitsubishi are instrumental for the structure and for the body. Maxion, of course, without them and their fabulous solar cells and the Gen 7, we wouldn't have the solar electric vehicle. Chris, you can speak to some of the other partners.
Yeah, LG Energy Solutions for the battery cells help us make one of the most energy-dense battery packs in the industry, and it's exciting to see that program come together with CT&S in Korea. And a lot of our other design partners along the way, Roush Performance, helping us with a lot of tasks to make this vehicle not just the most efficient vehicle in the world, but also very efficiently manufactured.
Right. Let's check out the leadership team that works within Aptera to make this mission a reality.
We've got a great group of individuals with Steve and myself. Tom's here with us, and hopefully we'll be answering questions a little later. But he's helped several companies go public, as CFO of Ricardo and helping Monster.com through their IPO process. Blake Ryan is also our VP of Finance, who unfortunately couldn't make it to New York because he and his kids are sick. But he's worked very, very hard to get us here. So we miss him here, but send him our best wishes. And Tim Dine, coming to us from some other bigger companies and awesome automotive programs, has been a great lead in getting this validation started. And a new hire, Leon, our new VP of Engineering, comes to us with a wealth of experience in getting startups to volume production and seeing companies from a very young age to stable and producing many vehicles, which we hope to be in suite with too.
I think we're announcing our directors for the first time in this slide.
Yeah.
So it hasn't been public yet. So we pleased to announce Tony Kierton and Todd Boots as, how do I pronounce his name? He both, Tony comes from a C-level automotive marketing side, and Todd has a wealth of experience in manufacturing and finance. And both of these, I think that the key takeaway from all of these folks is that an idea, the founders, an idea is one thing, but it takes a real team to bring this into reality, both on the financial side, on the engineering side, on the production side. And I'm pleased to say that we've been very good at hiring people much smarter and much more capable than ourselves. So,
Yeah, I'm there too.
yes, and Chris.
Awesome. Well, now let's talk about our first product, our 3-wheeled solar EV. So how does Aptera use efficiency and aerodynamics as a strategic lever?
Well, when most people don't know this, but the marketplace has already selected for efficiency. When Chris and I started the company, we looked at about 10 years of sales data, And to us, the data were very clear when we looked at it through all different ways through MATLAB. And we saw clear trends that told us that the customers are selecting for efficiency by buying the highest range vehicles, but with the most affordable cost. Those vehicles to deliver that have to be very efficient. And so that told us that if we could maximize efficiency, meaning more range for the fewest amount of dollars, that we could really make a dent in the marketplace. And so by having such an efficient vehicle, we use a much smaller battery pack. And battery packs are the most expensive part of the EV. So we use it as a strategic lever, efficiency, aerodynamics, to make the vehicle structurally lower priced.
Yeah, we're having a lot of those conversations here in New York now. How are we going to make this vehicle super mass market? And through efficiency, comes lower cost, less materials used in the vehicle, much cheaper battery pack. You can also think of the drivetrain having to do much less work for a much lighter, much more efficient vehicle, and that really helps us, all around with making this product very, very compelling, not just from a performance perspective, but also from a cost perspective. You put all that together, and we end up using about a third of the energy per mile versus the average EV, and we weigh about half of what the average EV weighs. So less materials in and less materials used per mile of driving.
Yeah, totally. And also has a lot of trunk space, which is pretty awesome. You can fit a lot back there.
Yeah, 32 feet, or for those in Europe, 1,000 liters of storage space is quite a lot. I mean, if you're able to see the animation playing on YouTube, I mean, look at all the stuff you can put in this thing. It really is deceiving. You might look at it and think it's a smaller vehicle, but you open up the trunk, it's pretty amazing. Some of the stuff that you can put in this truck, you can't put in the trunk of comparable EVs. You have to fold down the rear seats in order to do so. So guess what? With most EVs, to get the same storage space, you still end up with a two-seater because you have to fold down the rear seats to get the same amount of space.
Totally. And yeah, the vehicle looks really unique. I know our community always asks about safety. Is Aptera designed for safety?
It very much so is. It's one of the first questions that we get, and we want this to be the safest thing that we can design. I want my kids to be able to drive this. I've got a 14-year-old who's in high school now, and from my mom to our kids to our loved ones, we want the Aptera to be safe. We achieve this really through a lot of stability in our vehicle. The low center of gravity helps with having the battery pack slung very low in the vehicle. But our composite structures, carbon fiber, steel reinforced, gives us great overall vehicle body strength. And we've got things like crumple zones, inside impact protection, along with airbags and seat belts, which make this a very, very safe and compelling offering.
Totally. Well, let's circle back to the solar power. How impactful is that if you were a future Aptera customer?
In sunny locations, it's amazing to think of this vehicle providing over 10,000 miles of free driving to each Aptera owner per year. That's 1,000 miles per month in the summer, which is
it's crazy.
Just amazing. From the grid's perspective, having less stress on the grid is an amazing attribute of the Aptera. Lots of conversations around how do we spread EV adoption in general. California had an all-electric vehicle mandate by 2035, and that means that there's going to be a lot of electric vehicles charging in California. Other states have similar ambitions. California is not ready from a grid perspective to have that many EVs charging on its grid. There needs to be a better way, and Aptera is that way. If all of your vehicle charging comes from the sun, you don't need to stress the grid. And if you do end up driving more than your solar power is producing, you can plug it in with a 110 extension cord in your garage. You don't have to have any fancy charging infrastructure, and you can get over 150 miles a night back into your Aptera, which is pretty cool.
And most drivers may not be focused or worried about whether or not they're stressing the grid, right? But it removes the friction from owning it. So in my household, I have 3 EVs and I have 2 chargers, and we're still, playing musical chargers with all the vehicles. So to have one of those EVs that I just don't have to charge, I don't have to think about, I just park it in the sun and drive it, and it really removes the friction from owning an EV.
And because we've worked so hard on integrating solar, we've created a lot of intellectual property around it, and that's meant new possible revenue streams in the future, and working with a lot of new great companies on this technology.
Totally, yeah. So let's summarize the difference that Aptera provides to the overall marketplace.
You put it all together from a product perspective, and you end up with something that can have a range of up to 400 miles, something that needs not charge for most daily driving, and something that would be really difficult for others to copy because of the technologies we've wrapped up in this over the last few years.
Awesome. All right, well, let's switch gears to other products. Let's first talk about our solar business. What are the other solar businesses that Aptera is involved with right now?
Well, Aptera has been already shipping product to its first paid solar customer, Polydrops. We've developed a product for them that's built on our same assembly line as the production panels, using the same materials, mostly the same processes, so it's able to utilize all of that same capital. And we ship, I think, weekly to them. We've even developed a reusable dunnage, as they say, so the panels go there and then the dunnage comes back and we load it up with new panels. And the feedback has been fantastic. Customers love it. It provides such an abundance of solar power on this camper that they can run the air conditioner, the Starlink, the little inductive cook stove, and everything else. So it's really transformative from a user experience to be able to go somewhere and not have to be tethered, plugged in. You know, you're getting your energy from the sun. Polydrops is one of our customers. We have a pilot project with a very large airline that's in operation right now. It's been in operation for over a year, pushing back airplanes every day, completely powered by the sun. And we're going to be moving to another phase in that project, I believe we can discuss at some point in the future. And we have other customers that it's public that we're working with, like Tilo and a few others. Tello, excuse me. I'm going to hear from them about that. Basically integrating not only our panels, but our ecosystem of high voltage connectivity and the smarts of how to integrate this power into these other solutions, which is what our team has.
Totally, yeah. And we also really have the opportunity to dominate the three-wheeled vehicle industry. What would that look like in other applications?
You know, as a platform, we're really amazing, you know, as a consumer product that, you know, can save people money, can save people time, can do better for the environment, their communities. But when you look at commercial applications and beyond, it really all comes down to total cost of ownership and cost per mile. And the Aptera just knocks it out of the park when compared to any combustion vehicle and electric vehicle out there. So making more variants on this three-wheel platform, using our same battery tech, using our same controls tech, using basically the whole vehicle platform architecture. We can stretch the rear storage. We can take things you know, like package delivery, food delivery, security, take the passenger seat out and put a toolbox there, and now you're, you know, taking care of plumbing and construction and all sorts of things. The standard vehicle, you know, you can fit half sheets of plywood in the back, you know, and if we stretch that, we could offer even more utility. So I'm really excited about the future of stretching this vehicle platform into other applications where total cost of ownership really, really matters. And I could see a future where we're building a lot of commercial Apteras.
Absolutely. All right, now let's talk about our financial plans to get the vehicle into production. So let's check out the different gates we got.
Yeah, we've been talking about our plan for quite a while now. It hasn't really changed on this slide, but it's really that the next $65 million of spend will get us into low volume production. You know, that validates the full vehicle build, the production methodology, and starts delivering vehicles to customers. You know, that amount comes from a lot of different financing, you know, whether it be from equipment financing to debt to equity offerings, and obviously we're excited about listing on the NASDAQ tomorrow, and that being a real enabler for this and beyond. And moving past that, it's really all about high volume production, which is automated assembly mostly. It's how do you take the proven processes that you've done in low volume and then really kick things into high gear to start delivering not just thousands, but tens and tens of thousands of Aptera and getting us to that million vehicle goal in the next decade.
Awesome. Yeah, I noticed Aptera is now a public benefit corporation. Can you explain why and what that means?
We are. You know, our community-driven approach has really been something unique, but not just to us, but to the world of tech. to have such a following, so early on in the company's existence was just amazing, not just from the funding benefits, but also how we've received comments on how we're building the vehicle and had events and being able to talk through different features that we wanted to add to the vehicle, to support our community, to the real impact that we could have, not just here but globally. And that really led us to the belief of why aren't we codifying this mission to bring solar mobility to the masses in a more official way. And that's what a public benefit corporation does. It really puts purpose over profits. And, it's our obligation to the environment, it's our obligation to our community, it's our obligation to our employees, and yes, our shareholders to make this company the best it can be over the coming years and deliver as many vehicles as possible, driven by the mission to make the environment better, make our community better, and really bring this amazing technology to the masses.
Totally, completely agree. So what are some of the key takeaways from this presentation?
Well, as we talked about it before, Aptera is here to do more. We've got an amazing team, we've got awesome tech, and we have all the pieces put forth to bring solar mobility to the masses. Solar becoming a reality for transportation can make the world a better place, and it's amazing to be on this journey with so many supporters. We're here in New York getting ready for this NASDAQ listing tomorrow. It's going to be terribly exciting. We'll get the fanfare, we'll get the confetti, and with everybody that's listening to this call's help through SEV, we can all build a brighter future.
Awesome, I love that. All right, well now we're gonna start with a Q&A section. People submitted questions ahead of time, and we've kind of collected all those questions and selected a couple that we're gonna answer here today. So do you want to introduce Tom? He's going to answer the first couple.
Tom's here with us, our CFO, and he's going to tackle some of the more challenging questions we got on the finance side of things.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks for introducing me.
Cool. So the first question is, when will Aptera begin production? We get that one a lot.
We do. We certainly do. Well, Chris covered our funding goals earlier in the presentation, and production timing is very much validation and funding dependent. So right now we're focused on advancing those milestones, but in bigger ways than we've ever done before. Executing our equity line of credit agreement, for example, was kind of the first step in doing that.
Awesome. All right, next question is, how does the ELOC work? So it goes right into that one, I guess.
Yeah, very good, very good. An ELOC is basically a volume-based instrument where we have the ability to issue and sell new shares to our partner New Circle at a 3 to 4% discount in order for us to be able to raise money. It's really similar to an at-the-money or an at-the-market offering that's used by a lot of other seasoned SEC issuers.
Cool. How does the New Circle capital facility enable production?
So the facility offers us the ability, but not the obligation, to sell shares into the market to raise near-term capital. But it's really intended to access we really intend to access the facility strategically for near-term capital. But I also want to point out that it's just one of the mechanisms that we're pursuing to finance the production for the vehicle alongside other equity and potentially debt offerings.
Awesome. All right, I think last one for you, Tom. Someone asked, will I be able to buy shares tomorrow?
So the short answer is yes. Yeah, absolutely. I do want to let everyone know, though, however, because we're direct listing our shares, we're expecting a delay in the start of trading tomorrow morning to allow NASDAQ to collect enough order flow for trade settlement. So while you won't be able to maybe purchase shares at market open tomorrow, you will certainly be able to later in the day.
Awesome. All right, thanks, Tom.
You're welcome.
I'm sure we'll see more of Tom in the future. All right, we're gonna go back to Chris and Steve. First one is, what performance results can you share from our validation?
Well, I think in maybe 2 months or so, we'll be able to release more substantive data than we have right now. We've done a big road trip a few months ago, and we published information about that. But as you know, we're still undergoing vehicle validation, and and validating all the different systems.
It's awesome to see the vehicles driving every day and collecting data, doing suspension tuning and calibration on all the systems. And, as we get further and further down the validation process, we'll be able to share some exciting updates.
Awesome. A lot of people asking why Aptera has been quiet for the last few months.
Yes, the public listing process is an arduous one, for sure. It's taken a long time to put all of this together, and we would have loved to just continue sharing information as we had been the last 2 years. But now we have new rules and regulations to follow. We have to be much more judicious on how we share information and what channels we share information through. So we've done that in accordance with all the guidelines to get to this point. We're ready to list the company tomorrow, and that has meant a quiet period and slowing down information and releasing it through different channels in a more judicious way. So we apologize that it seems like we've been quiet. We've had a lot of news to share, and that means that we kind of have a backlog of stuff to share going forward, which is exciting. But yeah, it's been difficult to push information the last few months, and we hope that starts to ease up very soon.
Right. Yeah. So kind of in that same vein, people are asking, will we resume regular updates and community communications? I think 100%.
Yeah. Now that we have new rules to follow, we know what those rules are, and it may not be the same cadence as we've had before. Because we may have news that has to go through compliance and be reviewed, or we have to push it through a certain channel. So the cadence may not be as regular as it has been in the past, but there's going to be a lot of exciting things happen as we inch towards production here. All the validation that's going on, all the testing that's going on, more and more vehicles hitting the road. So there's going to be a lot of exciting things to share. So just stay tuned.
Totally. What remains to be finalized before production begins?
Well, we're in validation right now, and that means that we're looking at everything, making sure all the systems work together, the air conditioning, the power steering, all of those things. We're trying to break stuff and learn from it, and that's typical from validation. But I have to say we're really pleased at all the results we're getting so far. The overall drivability and handling, enjoyment of the vehicle has just improved immensely.
Absolutely. How will Aptera keep a competitive edge compared to other EVs?
We're really creating a whole new category of electric vehicle now, a vehicle that fuels itself as never existed before. Competition's kind of a difficult term for us to grapple with. We don't have any competition now. There's no other vehicle out there that creates its own fuel on a daily basis for driving. So, it's not just the 3-volt architecture. It's not just the amazing body structure. It's not just this is built more like a Formula One car or an aircraft than anything in automotive today. It's that this vehicle is set to change the world through solar mobility. And by fueling itself, it's really a whole new thing in itself. And to compare it to anything else that's on the road today, I think is just not a way to gauge us.
It looks like a spaceship. Very unique. How does it feel, both of you guys, to finally be taking Aptera public?
It's been a long road, and it's super exciting. As I said, the first time I sat down with Steve, and we shook hands at Fuddruckers to start this company together over Fuddruckers Burger in the Elvis booth. They have a little themed booth, and
All right.
we were in the Elvis section. It's been our mission to bring this efficient mobility to life in solar transportation to the masses, and this public listing, this IPO, is really the next step in our existence, something that is a true enabler, to getting these vehicles on the road.
I mean, Chris and Tom and Blake and the finance team have been working round the clock, for quite a bit of time to make this happen. And I honestly can't believe that it's here now. It's hard to really fathom. But, it's by no means the end point for us. It's a milestone. It's important. It's like the ignition of the second stage. Now we're being boosted in orbit, and we're really going to scream now. So this is great.
And we have to thank, everyone that's gotten us here. Our community has been so passionate in driving us here. Everyone on the team has been amazing. The people that are here in New York with us, Tom and Sarah Cravens, the people that are back in the shop, Blake and the engineers, and the whole team there still working hard on validating the vehicles and getting things out the door. Previous team members that have moved on to other things, Pablo Ukar and Sarah Hardwick. Our board member, Doug Liu, is here to celebrate with us, and a lot of our early investors are here to celebrate the day too. And it's just amazing to look back and think that we were just two guys in a garage, thinking about how to make this happen, and really pontificating about what this could be. But I don't think I had imagined that we could get to this point so quickly with such enthusiasm. And to see how far we've come and how far we can go with everyone's support is just amazing. So a true thank you to all of our community, to all of our early investors, to all of our accelerators, to everyone that supported us along the way.
Amazing. Totally agree. All right, well, thanks everybody for tuning in to this investor presentation. And we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.